evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. Eligible Malaysians can redeem the 100 ringgit e-Madani credit from today until February 20th next year. It can be redeemed through 4 main platforms, namely Maybank MAE, Settle, Shopee Pay, and Touch and Go e-wallet. Eligible applicants for the program must be Malaysian citizens who are at least 21 years old as of the end of this year. Applicants must also either be a recipient of the Rahmah cash aid or earn an annual income of 100,000 ringgit or below. They would also need to complete an electronic identity verification with their selected e-wallet provider before applying for the credits. Once claimed, the credits must be utilized before February 29, 2024. Meanwhile, the Finance Ministry has warned against potential scams involving third-party services offering cash-outs or peer-to-peer transfers of e-Madani credit. It said the credit is only intended for physical purchases at authorized retailers and businesses. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has denied that he is stepping down due to poor health. He clarified that he had undergone prostate surgery last month and has since fully recovered.
Rumours had been circulating that the UMNO president had undergone emergency surgery for stage 4 prostate cancer. However, the 70-year-old said such surgery was not unusual for men his age. Zahid resumed duties last Friday when he attended the weekly cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim.
Meanwhile, Zahid Hamidi said low voter turnout among Barisan Nasional supporters was the reason for the coalition's loss in the Kemaman by-election. The UMNO president adds that the loss was not due to increased support for PAS. According to Zahid, only 68.3% of hardcore UMNO voters had turned out to vote in last Saturday's by-election. He also said Barisan Nasional's loss did not mean that the government had lost the people's support, as Kemaman only had about 141,000 voters. On December 2nd, PAS retained the Kemaman parliamentary seat with majority of 37,200 votes, defeating the Barisan Nasional candidate who received 27,778 votes. The by-election was called after the Terengganu Election Court annulled PAS's victory in the 15th general election, citing elements of corruption during the campaign. In other news, former Defence Minister Tan Sri Abang Abu Bakar Abang Mustafa has died at the age of 82. The politician from Sarawak passed away at the National Heart Institute in Kuala Lumpur this morning. Abang Abu Bakar had served as Deputy Defence Minister, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, and then Defence Minister from 1999 to 2003 under Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamed's first administration. He also served as Palo MP for 2 terms from 1981 before being elected as Kuala Rajang MP for 2 more terms from 1990. Abang Abu Bakar was formerly Deputy President of Parti Pesaka Bumiputra Bersatu when it was part of Sarawak Barisan Nasional. The Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry MOSTI will present a comprehensive framework on the Code of Ethics for Artificial Intelligence AI in the first quarter of next year. Its Minister, Chang Lee Kang, said the presentation aims to detail the guidelines and regulations that stakeholders in all sectors must adhere to.
He said a special committee had been formed under MOSTI to develop the framework, including industry players. According to him, there are currently no guidelines or regulations in place to ensure the ethical use of AI across all sectors. The ministry's efforts to develop the AI Code of Ethics was in response to issues concerning privacy, security and its impact on human life. Chang said the regulation is drafted based on recommendations by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in November 2021. He added that the widespread use of AI would create more high-skilled job opportunities and provide added value for upskilling or reskilling workers.
We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Okay. percutian.
Saya dah agak dah, ni bukan holiday.
Yang berbeza.
I'm going to challenge you guys.
Ada tugasan.
No, let me talk, honestly.
Misi untuk dipenuhi. Dan peluang yang mengujakan.
Kita akan jumpa legend Man United hari ini.
On!
Berjayakah mereka mengharunginya? From KL to Premier League, di Astro Ria dan Astro Go.
More than 800 Palestinians have been killed since Saturday as Israel's military widened its ground offensive focused on the south of Gaza. The renewed warfare followed the end of a 7-day truce on Friday between Israeli forces and Hamas. The latest violence took place despite calls from Israel's closest ally, the U.S., for it to limit harm to Palestinians. In the latest phase of its ground offensive, Israel's military tanks had cut off the roads between Khan Yunis and Deir al-Balah in central Gaza, dividing the Gaza Strip into 3. The Israeli army on Monday called on residents of certain areas in central Khan Yunis to evacuate further south using QR codes to indicate if their houses fall into targeted blocks. Israel says it is defining safe areas to minimize harm to Palestinians, but UN officials and people in Gaza say it is difficult to heed these orders given patchy internet access and unreliable electricity. Meanwhile, at least 11 hikers were found dead after a volcano erupted in Indonesia yesterday. Rescuers are racing to carry injured and burned survivors down Mount Marapi on foot, while the search continues for another 12 people still missing.
Marapi on the island of Sumatra spewed a tower of ash 3,000 meters into the sky, higher than the volcano itself. The dead hikers were found near the crater after the volcano rained ash on nearby villages. Rescue efforts, including air searches by helicopter, have been disrupted by the ongoing eruptions. Authorities have raised the alert for Marapi to the second highest level and imposed a 3-kilometer exclusion zone around the crater. It's one of the most active volcanoes on Sumatra Island, with its deadliest eruption in April 1979 killing 60 people.
Authorities in southern India shut schools and offices, halted flights and evacuated thousands ahead of Cyclone Mcch, expected to make landfall in the next 24 hours. The country's weather office said the cyclone is expected to land on the coast of Andhra Pradesh, with sustained winds of 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, gusting to 110 kilometers per hour. Andhra Pradesh authorities evacuated almost 7,000 people in 8 coastal districts and were preparing to evacuate a total of 28,000, depending on the cyclone's path and severity. Meanwhile, in Tamil Nadu, authorities declared a public holiday in 4 coastal districts. The state capital's Chennai airport also halted operations for 2 hours on Monday morning after torrential rains in the city, and several flights were cancelled or diverted to other cities. A manhunt is underway in the Philippines for the attackers who bombed a Catholic mass in the country's south, killing 4 people. Police are looking into at least 2 suspects they believe were behind the blast, which was claimed by Islamic State.
The bomb went off on Sunday during a service in Marawi, a city already left in ruins by a 5-month military campaign in 2017 to end an Islamic State occupation. 54 people were injured from the deadly bombing, but only 7 remained in hospital as of Monday. It followed a series of military operations against local pro-Islamic State groups, including one on Sunday that led to the killing of a leader of the Daulah Islamiyah Maut group. The military said it was possible that the bombing had been a retaliatory attack. Several countries have also condemned the incident and expressed support for the Filipinos in their rejection of violence, including Japan, Australia, the US, China, and Canada.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for efforts to tackle the country's falling birth rates, describing the challenge as everyone's housekeeping duty. The United Nations Population Fund estimated that 1.8 children per woman are being born in North Korea as of 2023. The country's fertility rate remains higher than in some of North Korea's neighbors, which have been grappling with a similar downward trend. South Korea saw its fertility rate drop to a record low of 0.78 last year, while Japan saw its figure drop to 1.26. North Korea, with a population of around 25 million people, had to contend with serious food shortages, including deadly famines in the 1990s, often a result of natural disasters such as floods that damage harvests. Founded in 2006, the Prince Albert II Foundation in Monaco implements and funds a wide range of projects globally, focusing on environmental protection, sustainable development, and fighting climate change. Vice President and CEO of the foundation, Olivia Wendon, shares the work they do in Asia and the environmental challenges this region faces.
The work we do in Asia has threefold, I would say. Asia at large, and Southeast Asia in particular, is first and foremost promote the development of marine protected areas. We believe that today marine protected areas represent one of the best tools to find this balance between the regulation of fisheries, the protection of marine ecosystems and marine fish stocks, but also economic development, by pushing ecotourism, for instance. So that's a very key point that we are extremely focusing on. The second one will be the fight against plastic pollution. The single-use plastic bags and cosmetics using nanoparticles of plastic. This is a very big challenge, not only for the environmental health, but also for human health. We have an amazing track record when it comes to conserving emblematic species, and we are very much, looking to protect tigers and the elephant, orangutan, and so biodiversity on land, but also at sea when necessary, with our local partners, of course.
Ensuring environmental action remains an important agenda for any country. Olivier stressed the need to engage with the private sector.
Today, what we found is that in the majority of the cases, you have a lot of companies and solutions that exist that can again generate the jobs, generate the profits that is required for the company to be sustainable. But these solutions and companies are also having a positive impact on the ecosystems, using nature-based solutions, for instance, promoting reforestation, the mangrove, but also the seagrass in other parts of the world. So this is actually central to succeed, is really to embark the private sector, embark the banks, embark the insurance companies to help and to support and to sustain the political decisions that sometimes are not fitted with the urgency, of course, but the private sector can play a massive role in scaling that up.
That's all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Saraya Mia, and we'll see you again.